Well, I'm going to take a little bit of time tonight to dress up these little homemade rollers that I made. And I don't mean like dress up for Halloween, although it is almost Halloween. I mean like there's a sharp edge on some of these, like that one right there. Practically, I can almost cut myself with that edge. And I want to put a little bit of a bevel on it, kind of like what's on this side on this one, because that's kind of like what was on one of the original ones, which if I can find an original. Oh, I think my originals are, yeah, put all my originals for safekeeping in this thing here. See, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bevel on there. And even the originals have that little dimple on them from the cutting process as they were cut off. So I'm not going to worry too much about that little dimple on the end there, or how smooth they are on that edge. I just want to get the sharp edge off. So I was going to use my grinder. You know what I hate? I hate when, like, you know, you spend like $6 on a little grinding attachment for your Dremel, and then the Dremel tool falls off the bench and it cracks. But I think I could still use it, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that little center area right there, right in the center there. I'm just going to hold it onto that. But first I got to clamp I'm going to clamp this in a position so it's much easier to handle. So I'm using a pretty slow speed. I've got that in position, so I should be able to just hold this in the center. That little grinder wasn't aggressive enough, and I just didn't like using it, so I actually just went to a nice fine pattern file and did them by hand, and that actually gave me a better finish on the bevels than that grinder was doing anyway. So I didn't finish them all. I'll get back to that. It's boring. I want to rip open this box because I got my first order of parts in. See what we got. All right, let's see what we got. Newspaper. The flyer. Easter. What's this? Oh, look at that. Big Five Sporting Goods. Never heard of that. We don't have a Big Five Sporting Goods here in Massachusetts. Big bag with little bags in it. Alright. So, here we go. We got an O-ring. This is the gasket for that plate on the bottom, which I've never even removed. The one that goes underneath the rack. This is obviously probably on the top there. Oh, wait. Oh, that's probably this one. Yeah, that's this gasket where the cylinder goes onto it. This is where the top tube goes into the top there somewhere. Oh, that's on the other part. All right. And we got another O-ring and another O-ring. And most importantly, this gasket. Now, I kind of had a weird thing happening when I was researching the parts. I came up with two different part numbers for the gasket, and one of them I couldn't find anywhere, and the other one I was able to get. So I ordered the one I was able to get, and I just hope it's the right one. So let's check that out. I got two of them too. I think I had a minimum order I had to meet or whatever. And this company didn't have everything I needed. It's obvious this company is dealing with either old stock, that they're repackaging, or I mean some of these they said there was seals or gaskets, and they ended up just being plain old O-rings. I could have sized those locally, but they were cheap enough, so I got them just so I could have them all together. So let's see what this gasket looks like. Yeah, so they're saying this is a 363754R1. No, I'm sorry, 368754R1. I guess that's an 8. 368754R1. So let's see. Yeah, looks good. I like it. Okay, so I've got the right gasket. So what I'm waiting for now to put this back together is I ordered 2 new seals. And remember I showed you just a little while ago how sloppy this was in the bushing that's pressed in here. Well, I decided to bite the bullet and buy the bushings because they were so sloppy. And hopefully the new ones will come in, and when I push them in, that'll tighten this up. But I did find a source for the bushings, and then I decided I was going to remove this bushing. Can't remember if I showed this on the video or not, but I ended up trying to use a chisel, and all I succeeded in doing was damaging this lip here. Now of course I'm getting rid of the bushings anyways, so I don't care that I damaged the bushing, but I do care about the bore. So I realized that I'm not going to be able to push that bushing out by just tapping it with a chisel. It's in there too tight. So of course the service manual I think talks about using an arbor. I don't have an arbor, so what do? Well, you remember in some previous videos, I don't know if they were videos regarding the International Tractor Project, but might have been in some of the other projects, I mentioned that I have the good fortune to be neighbors with a retired machinist. You know those guys, right? Well, hopefully you're lucky enough to know one of those guys. So look what he made me. I made him a little drawing. I told him that I wanted the OD to be 1.5 inches, and I told him that the ID needed to be about 1.370, and he got that turned up for me. And I told him the length on this wasn't critical because I could just put on an extension when I put it in the press. And then he had, by the looks of it, he had this chunk. I'm not sure what this is. There's a set screw right there. I don't know what this was, but he was good for holding on to junk like this and just having boxes of stuff. So he went and found this, turned it up for me, and now I got myself a nice arbor to press the old bearings out, or bushings out, and press the new ones in without destroying them, hopefully. So I guess, even though I don't have the new bushings yet, they're on order, I guess for tonight I could have a little fun and see if I could press these out. Or at least this one. The other one's going to be a whole nother story because, as you may recall, somebody did a real nasty job and welded the other half that this is attached to, that has the bushing in it, to the tractor. So I'm going to have to somehow figure out a way to get this arbor to push out the bushing on the other half while it's on the tractor. But I'll cross that bridge when I come. Okay, I've got it set up where I want it in the press. And now alright. I got this good and supported. There we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's almost comical how easy it is when you get the right tools. A perfectly sized arbor and a 20-ton Harbor Freight Special press. I run out of room here. It's going to be able to get all the way down before it runs out of real estate. If it does, I'll just raise it up a little bit and stick a spacer in there. And that might make it. There she be. You want to hear a funny noise? Hey, what can I say? I'm easily amused. How thin that bearing is. I keep saying bearing, but I really should be saying bushing. Tell you what, I didn't realize about this bushing until I just took it out just now. It's actually got a split in it. By design, I'm sure, but see it? Now, now that I get it underneath the light, I can really see wear in there. So, all right, one down, one to go, and then we push in the new ones and put in new seals and put it all back together, and if all goes well, we'll be driving this thing before December. In case anybody was wondering, it's mid-October. I can give you another look at how loose this is on here. Now, of course, it also would be a little looser probably now, because since it's not pressed in, you can see that gap has opened up. So when it's pressed in, it's closed up a little bit, but it's very worn.